Hello everyone. Imagine a world where game developers can focus on building an engaging and immersive gameplay experience and do not need to worry about managing the backend service to power their game. Well, that world is here now. I'm very excited to introduce you to Amazon Gamesbox and share the value that this new managed service can provide you in helping you build, run, and grow your game backend. My name is Rahul Naryani, and I'm the Senior Product Manager for Amazon Gamesbox. Joining me in this presentation is Rohan Dubal, the Software Development Manager for Amazon Gamesbox. In the keynote, we announced the preview launch of Amazon Gamesbox. In today's session, we will go deeper into the journey of building this service, the feature set, and most importantly, the value it will provide you while building an online connected game. So, game developers love making games. However, today game developers need to focus both on the creative aspect of the game as well as the backend technology that supports it. The backend services includes things like storing and managing data for player activity, ensuring that the service scales up to support an increase in player activity, thinking about what web transfer protocol should be used for client to server communication. And all of this is not easy. Building backend services to suit the needs of your game requires development time and dedicated focus. It requires hiring for talent with a specialized skill set and experience with scalable services on cloud infrastructure. And it requires these backend teams to continuously monitor, update, and maintain these services. Our game developer community has told us that each one of these is a hard problem to solve, and we agree. All of this is in addition to building an amazing game. Moreover, doing these well does not really guarantee the success of a game, but not doing them well is most likely a barrier for the adoption and success of a game. Well, welcome to Amazon Gamesbox. All of those issues that I just described, they're now a part of the past. With Amazon Gamesbox, game developers now get a fully managed AWS service to easily and quickly create, manage, and scale backend game features without having to think about infrastructure or scaling. The service provides a simple interface to get started right from your game engine. It is a serverless game backend and assumes little or no prior cloud experience. The complexities of cloud primitives are abstracted as standard out-of-the-box game features that you can not only use directly, but also extend and customize to build unique game features that your game needs. On top of this service is built on AWS, which enables us to offer unmatched scaling for your games, such that backend services can scale with the popularity of your game. AWS has been working with game developers for a long time. Here's what the community told us about what they value, about what you value in a service that helps build game backends. Our customers like the simplicity of having higher level game features to work with, combine, and customize, which includes things like the right abstraction level for features and easy integrations with game engines. Customers also like and want the ability to not only edit the default functionality that we provide, but also add new game functionality, add new custom functionality with access to AWS services. And of course, with AWS, game developers expect and want their game to be reliable, always available, and resources to scale up and down with the usage of their game. Well, here we have it. We have built the service grounds up from AWS. We have kept the challenges that the game developers face and the tenets of a useful solution in mind and developed a new service ground up on AWS primitives. Amazon Gamesbox, being an AWS service, enables us to offer scalability, such that the game infrastructure scales to millions of players on global AWS infrastructure to ensure low latency gameplay. It offers extensibility, such that seamless integrations with other AWS services such as Lambda, DynamoDB, these allow you to unlock more value from the rest of AWS, and we'll talk about this later in our features. And one of the most important things is that this allows us to give you continuous improvements. We will do the work to bring in the latest AWS technology into Amazon Gamesbox as soon as something new is available and pass on the benefits on performance, price, without the game developer or without you having to manage all of these upgrades. Before we get into the feature set and the demo, here's how Amazon Gamesbox works at a high level. It's a fully managed service. What that means is that AWS takes care of securely managing the game configuration, deployment cycle, and scaling up or down the resources needed to run your game effectively. Whether that be compute, storage, networking, or any of the lower level primitives, we do all of that work, and all of this just works without you having to think about these operational aspects or managing these resources. Within this paradigm, we provide a set of features that almost every connected online game today needs. To start with, during the preview launch and during this entire phase of preview, this includes building blocks such as player authentication and identity, player data storage and management, and cloud code execution to power custom game logic. We'll talk more about these features soon. You have the option to manage and customize these game components via APIs or the service console, and we have made sure to keep it very simple and easy to use. All of this game logic or game configuration resides on the backend and can be accessed from the game clients over persistent WebSocket connections. All right, so here we are on what we are launching today. At GDC, we are launching Amazon Gamesbox in preview. What that means is we are launching with this feature set as the building blocks that enable you to get started with your game backend development and configure everything that's needed before the launch of your game. So that starts with the feature called Cloud Code. Cloud Code is the glue that brings everything in the service together. It's a console-based development environment that provides you the ability to add custom game logic for your game backend, extend pre-built game features such as Auth and Identity, player data management, and invoke the rest of the key AWS integrations that we have provided. So this is essentially everything that brings it all together. The next feature is a managed player data, which is it's an integrated data store for your player data such as what level the player is on or what kind of a device they've used to log in. All of this is managed by us as a managed service on player data. The next feature is messaging. We have a WebSocket-based messaging pipeline between the game clients and the backend. Using this messaging pipeline, you could create a turn-based mobile game that sends messages initiated from the backend to the client when a player's turn is ready. The next feature is a test harness. Well, what this does is it allows you to verify the cloud code or the custom game logic that you've written from within the console itself. So there's no need to go to the client every time you make changes to the game configuration. And this expedites development time and supports a more iterative approach to game development. The next feature is Auth and Identity, very important to get started. In preview, we have included an integration with Guest Auth, and more options for authentication will be enabled soon. The next feature is the Unity game engine integration. The messaging layer that I spoke about, that's integrated directly into the Unity game engine via an SDK that we'll provide. That's available to install as of today. And that's easy to set up and easy to get started. The last two features here are standout features that we can now offer since Amazon Gamesbox is built grounds up on AWS. They enable you to add customizations in your game, leveraging the power of more than 170 live AWS services. So these two features are AWS Lambda Integration. This feature gives you the power to invoke AWS Lambda functions from within the cloud code to access the rest of AWS. And this is amazing if you want to use any AWS service within your game logic. We are really excited about this one. The next one is Amazon DynamoDB integration. This feature allows you to invoke DynamoDB from within the cloud code to store player and game data. And to top it all, the best part is this is just the start. This is a preview launch, and we have a host of game features, new platform support, and game engine integrations coming really soon. Here are the details that you need to get started before we go on to the demo of the service. The great news is AWS will not charge for the usage of Amazon Gamesbox during preview. So it's free for you to get started and start building your game. We are available in one region during the preview, which is US East 1. The service offers game engine integration with Unity and custom C# or C++ engines. And the platforms supported right now are mobile, which is iOS and Android, and PC for games. And more platforms are coming soon. In fact, all of this, more regions, platforms, game engine integrations are coming soon, and we have a really solid roadmap of products, platforms coming soon onto the platform. And now I pass on the spotlight to Rohan. Rohan will demonstrate how we have integrated all of these tenets and features into Amazon Gamesbox and how you can get started using this service. Over to you, Rohan.
Thank you, Rahul. Hello, everyone. My name is Rohan Dubal. I'm one of the engineering managers with Amazon Gamesbox. We are here today for an exciting demo of Amazon Gamesbox, so let's get right on. We'll start with an awesome game which showcases the strength of Amazon Gamesbox, so let me get started. The game we have here is Mobrush. You can play this game as a single player or against a friend, and bots are part of either of this mode. The object of the game is simple. You need to get as many people as you can to be part of your mob, and at the end, the player with the largest mob wins the game. Let's start with the play with friends option so I can play against my friend. It gives me a couple of options for the boosters. I'll choose the speed booster because I think that's the default one and it's nice. And let me first get started by creating a room. Looks like I need to create a room to get my friend in, so I'll do that. The game is going to give me a code which I'll then share it with my friend. So let's see, I've shared the code now. Let's get them to join, and once they join, I'll get a notification that they are here and we can get started. All right, Bob's here. Let's start the game right away. All right, I see a couple of people here. Let me get them as part of my mob. Off to a solid start. Let me find some more people. I guess I'm building a good mob. It's getting close, but where are the people? Come on, come on. Okay, it's a tough call. It's a tough call. Oh, it's a tie. I guess we both won since we both had the largest mob. So that's cool. It was an interesting game. Let's see what's going on behind the scenes of this game. All right. So what we have here is the architecture diagram for this game. Let's take a walkthrough of how Amazon Gamesbox powers the backend features and things work out here. When you initialize your game client, it establishes a connection with Amazon Gamesbox. It is a WebSocket connection which allows for bidirectional communication. The first feature it uses is the guest auth feature, where it fetches the credentials and gives it back to the client, which is used for connection in this connection and future connections. Next, Amazon Gamesbox also offers Cloud Code, which allows you to author custom JavaScript code and integrate with other out-of-box features or AWS integrations. The first integration we are going to use is the Lambda integration, which allows you to integrate with like many other AWS services. In this case, we'll use AWS app config to get the client configuration and give it back to the client. Easy. Next, we want to use a feature like multiplayer, so we'll use the DynamoDB integration to create and host the virtual rooms where the players connect with each other and play the game. During various phases of the gameplay, Amazon Gamesbox also provides built-in features like player storage. Here, information like your high scores, your number of wins are stored and retrieved at different time of gameplay. Amazon Gamesbox also offers player notifications over WebSocket, which are used to notify things like what's the opponent score, did the game start, did the game end, things like that. With this, we kind of paint a picture of like how Amazon Gamesbox glues so many features together and allows you to use Cloud Code to build your custom use cases. Now that you have seen this, let's go the game and see the Gamesbox console in action. Here we have the Amazon Gamesbox console and the Mobrush backend configuration open. We'll go over the features and the typical workflow of an Amazon Gamesbox game using the Mobrush game. So let's start with the pipeline page as our first step. Pipeline page presents a view of what is currently available for your players to play. It starts with organizing your game configuration in stages. Here we have three stages, which are the dev stage, the QA stage, and the production stage. The dev stage is the stage where game developers, that is you, will do the development, writing cloud code, and testing and evaluation. Once you are done with all your development in the dev stage and have some confidence, you think about promoting those changes to a QA stage where the QAs can evaluate it and evaluate if this build is ready for production. So we are seeing the QA stage. Next, once the QA gives a sign off, you want to release this into production. So you can then take the QA stage and release it to production. Amazon Gamesbox in preview will only going to offer the dev mode. So next we are going to talk about the cloud code page. So cloud code manages all your cloud code. This page manages all your cloud code interactions with Amazon Gamesbox. The interactions are done by three message types. Events. Events are the fire and forget messages which allow the communication from client to service without any response back from the service, used for things like level completion. Next is request. Requests are a type of messages that elicit response from the service. You typically use this when you want to get some data back from the service, like you create a room, you want the room ID back. Lastly, we have notifications, which is the service to client communication mechanism to send messages which are originated on the service. Let's take an example of a request message, and in this case, we'll do the get game config. The get game config is used to invoke AWS Lambda and retrieve the client configurations, like what are the power-ups we have, what's the timer on the game, things like that. And as you can see, like the cloud code page also allows you to control the client permissions. What are the request fields associated with the message? What are the response fields associated with the message? These fields help define a contract between clients and the service. This simplifies the client programming experience. Now we'll go on to see the JavaScript code, which powers the cloud code. So this is the JavaScript code, and here you can see how invoking the Lambda is really easy. Let me highlight the code. It's a single line of code to invoke Lambda. That's it. You can also see that you can log your statements, you log your response, and once you're done with cloud code, you return back your response using a simple return message. Next, let's see something like create room request, which is a little advanced. Here we have the same thing. We enable the client permissions, we set the request fields, we set the response fields. Let's look at the code. We are using JavaScript code to randomly generate a room ID here, which will send back to the client. Then we also have some expiration logic, which uses the TTL feature of DynamoDB to remove entries after 1 day so that we don't consume a lot of space in DynamoDB table. We also have an expiration timer set here for that. We then respond back to the client after we save the data in DynamoDB and say, like, here's your room ID and you are part of it. And once we are done here, let's next move on to the snapshot configuration. You have made your changes to the game and now you want to evaluate it. So let's see how you manage your game configuration. So here you can see that you have a game key, which is going to be used from your clients to connect back to the service. This is the IAM role, which is created at the time of game creation and gives Amazon Gamesbox the permission to invoke your Lambda or DynamoDB table or write logs to CloudWatch. In this part, we can see what's the current snapshot configuration, which is deployed to your dev stage. And here you can see all your previously created snapshots. Let me give you a peek there. It also allows you to select any of your previous configuration and deploy it if you identify a need that something is wrong with the current stage and you don't want to use it, or it's not usable, so you can easily deploy anything back in time. Gamesbox also allows you to use options like import and export, which I'll showcase. So this import and export options allow easy collaboration where you can export the entire game configuration and give it to your colleagues or store it someplace else, or import a configuration. It also showcases their deployment history, as we can see here. Lastly, there's the generate code feature, which allows you to generate C# based code for your client integration. Next, let's move on to the test harness page. All right, we'll go to the test harness page. So once you have deployed your changes to your dev state, you want to evaluate it. Integrating all the changes back to the client is time consuming and slows down the overall development. So Gamesbox offers test harness, which allows you to test the configuration right from the browser. It establishes a connection to your backend. You get a player ID and a player token, which I'll showcase here, just like your game client. And then you can create a message. So let's see the player ID and the auth token. Here they are. And let's use the get game config example to showcase how a workflow would work in this case. So I'm going to select the get game config, populate the request body. I don't need any parameters, so that's fine. I hit send message, and here I get back the response. So I can see the power-ups are shown here, the game duration is shown here. Next, let's try another example. Let's go to create room. Similarly, I'll populate an example, send a message, Cloud Code will run, integrate with DynamoDB, store the room configuration, and here we have our room configuration. Pretty easy. So I didn't have to go to our client to integrate anything. I just went to another browser window and able to see if my Cloud Code is working. Pretty easy. Let's talk about CloudWatch, right? We also had some log statements. Let's see how we can use CloudWatch to see what logging is going on in the game. Once we get to the CloudWatch console, we'll be able to see the logs here. So we have the logs here. Let's open the latest log. Right, here we have our Lambda request logged here. We can see what the game configuration was received by us. We use the log statement, so we can see it right here in the CloudWatch. Pretty easy. This is back to the Gamesbox console. And with this, I'll conclude the demo and hand it back to you, back to Rahul. Thank you.
Thanks, Rohan. I hope that demo gave all of you a great sense of how Amazon Gamesbox makes it easy for you, the game developer, to create, test, and tune game features on your custom game backend. Today, you can go and sign up for these services on aws.amazon.com/gamesbox and get building. We are just getting started. We are very excited and very eager to build more for our customers and hear directly from you. Thank you for giving your valuable time to us today.